All right.
All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of rokrbox TV. My name is Josh Cunningham. I'm the founder and CEO here at rokrbox. Very excited to introduce you today with one of my very close friends and business partners, Mr. Brian Charlesworth from Sisu. How's it going, Brian?
Great, Josh. Thanks for having me on your show.
Certainly. And as we're heading into the close of 2018, I know many of you are starting to business plan for 2019 and focus on, what goals you have to accomplish next year. And obviously with new goals, you have new activities and new opportunities and new priorities, a ton of list of all those New Year's resolutions. But the reason why I wanted to introduce you guys to Brian today is because Brian has a very, very unique product here in the real estate space that I've been very privileged to get to work very closely with over the last couple of years. And Brian, why don't you first start off by educating the audience here on what exactly is a sales performance management platform? That's what Sisu is.
Great. Yeah. So sales performance management platform is all about increasing your sales, right? As sales leaders, especially in real estate, what I learned as I jumped into the business about 5 years ago is nobody knew their numbers. Nobody tracked and knew, okay, if I have a goal to get to 300, let's rephrase it. If I have a goal to get to 50 transactions, and what activities is it going to take to get there, right? So we're going to not only set goals, but we're also going to set all of the activity goals that are required to get there. We're going to visualize that for you on beautiful dashboards. We're going to gamify it for you so you can roll out sales challenges, that kind of stuff. We're also going to make your life easier so that you can quickly get that data into the vendor, all of your vendors' hands, so that your mortgage company, you don't have to send them a separate email and don't have to pull all your data for a transaction together and send it out to them. So it's really just about increasing, your sales performance, being able to hold your people accountable, giving them goals, holding them accountable to those goals, and then making it fun and engaging for them.
Awesome. So that's what we're going to learn about today, guys. A sales performance management platform, what it is, how Brian started Sisu here, and the impacts that it can make on your business. So before we get ahead of ourselves, Brian, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, some of your entrepreneurial background, and how you got yourself dipping your toes into real estate, and then obviously launching off Sisu just a few years ago.
Okay, great. So I've been in technology pretty much my whole life. When I graduated from college, I started a company called Talk to Technology that it did pretty much the same stuff you do today with your Alexa or your HomePod, that kind of stuff. The phones back then, you didn't have this beautiful visual display that we have now, right? And so what we did was we allowed you to talk to your phone and get your driving directions. So, back in the year 2000, I was driving in a taxi in New York. It was reading off my email to me. I was responding. It was taking it as a WAV file and sending it off. So anyway, that company was acquired by Nokia. After that, I started a few other businesses in the real estate space. I actually had a company called Sopra Capital that invested in franchising companies. One of the companies we bought was Housemaster Home Inspections. And that home inspection business, we actually bought in 2008. Not a great time to jump into real estate or into home inspections, right? So that was not the smartest decision ever, but it caused us to scramble, actually. And in scrambling to figure out how to keep that business growing, we actually ended up going to lenders and talking to lenders about sending us business. And we found out that really that business comes from the real estate agent, right? The lender doesn't refer that business because the real estate agent controls that client, really. So from doing that, however, the lenders actually came back to us. We did this for Wells Fargo, for Chase, for some other large banks, but they asked us to provide them with good faith estimate data. So we started a company called GF Easy, and for about 5 years, we provided all of these major lenders with all of their good faith estimate data, such as their transfer taxes, and of course, their home inspection data, right? So that they could give accurate estimates on the good faith estimate form. So that's kind of how I jumped into real estate, the first real estate space. And then I ended up leaving that company to work with Budget Blinds and to acquire some businesses together with Budget Blinds. And Budget Blinds at that time, about a year and a half later, got acquired. And when they got acquired, we couldn't acquire businesses anymore. So at that time, my wife, Spring, said, why don't you come help me grow my real estate business? And that's how I got into real estate.
Nice. And obviously the spring that you're referring to, we know very well here at rokrbox. Spring Benson was our first client ever back in 2013. And so we've obviously seen her business take off over the last couple of years, and she's got a lot of great success. But why don't you tell us how you kind of found this opportunity and were struck with the idea that, you know, the industry was really craving this solution?
Yeah, great. So when I jumped into the business, Spring wanted me to focus on listing. So we decided to hire a listing coach for me. We actually hired a Mike Ferry coach, and I was every week putting together these numbers. He had a back-end website that allowed me to put in data, but it was super clunky. And so I found myself keeping track of my calls on a piece of paper with, scratching pencil marks with the 4 lines down, 1 across, right? Remember those days? Yep. You probably don't remember those days because I had to go back to elementary school to remember those days. So anyway, but that's what I found myself doing. And then Spring had a coach as well, and she had to put numbers together on a weekly basis for her coach at the business level. And we found ourselves we were automating things. So we were getting agents from our numbers by rolling out smart sheets. Smart sheets would go out, and every day at 5 p.m. they would say, "Hey, agent, put in your numbers for today." They would put in their numbers for that day. We would then grab those numbers, and at the end of the week, we would have to transfer those so that we could see them for the weekly view. And then we'd have to put them into a monthly view and an annual view. So you're talking about 4 different spreadsheets there. Just super clunky, super hard to do. But as we were tracking this data, we found that it really is critical for someone, if they really want to grow their business in real estate, to know their numbers, to know what it takes to grow their business. And so tracking your numbers is a vital thing for anybody that really is taking their business seriously. It's just there hasn't been anything that makes it easy to track. So the first thing we did after we saw Spring was doubling her business that year by having her agents track, we were like, this is super vital. Let's build an app to make it easier to track. So we built an app to make it easier to track, and that just made her business even more effective. And we started sharing that with other people, and then that developed from building an app to building a business. And now you're about to see in a few minutes, but most of what we do is actually on the back end, the platforms, the gamification, the visualization, that kind of stuff.
That's awesome, Brian. I love your story, and I respect it so much. And it sounds very similar to the story of rokrbox, which is, I was working at Viral Marketing. I was going to all the different real estate events, and there was an overwhelming void in the industry for people having a good turnkey ISA system. And so that's sort of how I got dragged into it, was working with Spring and being her first ISA and making the calls myself and training a team to make the calls for her. And that sort of idea and that concept and that one-time project turned into a full-time business, which is what we know of rokrbox today. So it just goes to show that obviously as an entrepreneur, if you're willing to, invest in ideas and invest in opportunities and, massage new processes and techniques and technologies, that you really can. It definitely does show wonders what you can do with your business, because Spring is what tripled her business over the last couple of years. It's just phenomenal. So, let's talk a little bit about her success. Let's talk a little bit some of these real world experiences. I know that everything is up and ready and it's turnkey, rocking and rolling today, and ever improving every single day as well with your team of developers. But why don't you give us a little show here of some of the simplification of not having all these different spreadsheets, not having all this duplication of data and different systems. How can we simplify all the information that realtors are using every single day?
Great. So you can see my screen there.
Yes. Yeah, we're looking.
So if you go to sisu.co, sisu.co, you'll see this. When you come to the top, you can log in here. When you log in, essentially you're going to come to a screen that looks like this. And so one of the things you can see here is very quickly, I know exactly how many units I've signed, how many I've put under contract, how many I've closed, and what I currently have pending. Now, as an individual agent, these look like some pretty massive numbers, but this is a team here and those numbers, right? So when you look at this, you're going to very quickly get a feel for your business and know that you have 20 units pending. I see real estate teams at masterminds all the time, and they'll talk about things like, hey, last year I closed 250 transactions and 100 million in volume. I'm like, well, what'd you do this year? And they usually don't know, right? They don't know where they're at year to date. So
until the end of the year, right?
Exactly. And usually until the end of the year, until they file taxes or something like that. Teams usually know at the end of the year. Brokerages usually know at the end of the year. Individual agents usually don't know until they file their taxes. So or until the awards contest 3 months later, right? So anyway, coming in here, you can quickly see, I don't have a year over year. I don't have a lot of data in here for 2017, but you can see I have year over year numbers here. So you can see in 2017, I did $1 million in November. In 2018, I did 10 million, right? If I come over here to November, I can see I did 3 units and then I did 20 units. So again, you can see your year over year growth here as well. Right here, you see a message platform. You can send messages out to your team. You can also get notifications based on activities happening, such as every time somebody goes under contract. You can set up, it's completely customizable, but you can set up notifications to go out to whomever you want, whenever you want. So all of that is automated as well. And if I come up here to my team dashboard, quickly, you're going to see here, there are some colors, right? So these colors in this are basically temperature based. They go from cold to hot. So if I'm not on pace to hit my goal, it's going to be blue. If I'm on pace, it's going to be yellow. And if I've hit my goal, it's going to be orange. As you can see, we've hit all of our goals across the top here. So in addition, you can see I've hit my listings closed goal here. So what we found, Josh, is everybody knows their numbers now. I have conversations with Spring about what were you at last month, and just last night she told me exactly what her volume was for last month, which I thought was super cool. So you can come up here though, and you can see year-to-date closed volume and year-to-date closed units. These are the two things that you've been to enough masterminds. Everybody talks about what did I do last year. And it was these two numbers, right? I closed 147 units and did 72 million in volume. So that's up there all the time. These are monthly numbers here. And just with a little bit of data going into the platform, we have an app that we won't take time to jump into the app today, but by just putting in a name, is it a buyer or seller? What's the transaction amount? What is the GCI? And what is the income that the agent's going to make on that transaction? By just putting in those fields, and then dates drive it through this dashboard. And so they're just going to click on it and check a date whenever somebody goes under contract, or when it put in the settlement date, that kind of stuff. Just by doing that, you can see how much data we can really provide on these clients and on your business.
Yep. This is what I love, the productivity numbers here. Something you hear me chant over and over and over is that champions crave accountability. Anything that you measure can be improved, and things that you measure and that you broadcast or that you publish will be improved even more rapidly. But the productivity numbers I love here at rokrbox. Obviously, we're hustling the phones every single day, and it's a contact sport. The name of the game is how many conversations can you have. The more conversations you have, the more prospective opportunities that you find. And it's a very easy, simple math equation. It really doesn't change much over time. And so, people are talking about a shift. People are talking about there being changes in the market. People are talking about there being changes in buyer behavior. But the one thing that you can control as a business owner and as an entrepreneur, as a salesperson moving forward, the one thing that you can control is your own productivity. And so I love the ability to measure and stack up against and compare yourself from your productivity numbers, because this is really where all those touchdowns later on get notched up. It comes from your dials, your contacts, your open houses, your prospecting hours, the real grind, the real hustle, because guaranteed you're always going to have people within the organization that are going to be frustrated with the results. And this is a very easy way, a very simple way to go back and to judge what the input was in order to generate that output.
Exactly.
Talk a little bit about some of the contests and gamification and ways that you've been able to see an increase in individual performance and team performance through publicly displaying people's statistics like this.
Yeah. So just what you're seeing here, this is just our dashboard, right? And so it's going to go through, and you've seen it, it's gone through, it's sharing as a team. This is what your numbers are. Want to share the best example is probably because I actually share an office right now with Spring's team. So I go out and I can see these dashboards all over. What you're seeing here is on one TV, and it's showing all of the numbers that are on that dashboard that we just saw. I'm going to click through here a little bit faster and speed this up. Here's all your activities. These are custom activities. So anything you want to record here, Josh, you can record.
Yes. So you got Spring has a big screen TV up in the office. that everybody can see. And it has up here in the top right, these are the different tabs that you've created. And these are your custom scorecards that it scrolls through.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just going to rotate through here. So it's doing that on one TV, and whereas on another TV, she's got her gamification dashboards. So you can customize it, and then on each of her agents' desk, she's setting up right now so that their personal dashboard will be on their desk at all times, so they all know their numbers 100% of the time.
That's great.
So if I exit out of this dashboard though, and come back into this screen, you'll see if I come over to challenges, what's going to come up are all of the different challenges that we're running at this time. And I'm going to ask it to only show my active challenges. And so when it pulls this up now, I'm displaying, these are any challenges, any contests that I have running at this time, right? Mm-hmm. So you can see I have an overall leaderboard, which is just all the winners of the challenges that I've had in the past. And these are my current leaderboards. And so we're doing things like, contest for listing signed, goes on a trip to Disneyland, listings challenge, most days tracked. Those are the active challenges here today. So it just depends on your team. This is 100% customizable. These can be things like you can give points for winning a contest, such as, you see here we have first, second, third place. Mm-hmm. You can also do a challenge that says, hey, everyone that gets 30 transactions this year gets to go on our trip, right? Yep. So you can do that type of challenge. And then we're just building in right now some challenges that are activity-based challenges. So, for instance, every time you put somebody under contract, you get 500 points. Every time you speak to a person on the phone, you get 20 points, right? Mm-hmm. So you can do those types of challenges as well. So again, it's completely customizable. Once you have those challenges up and running, you can also go into display mode here. You can put this up on a different TV. You can also send out push notifications if you want that are going to notify people of, someone just took first place, someone just moved up on the leaderboard, or any types of notifications you want to share on that perspective.
That's awesome. So you know what this reminds me of? I'm actually going to be going to Jeff Cohn's workshop next month in Miami. ERS is doing a workshop, and he's having me come in and do my talk on millennial engagement. We here at rokrbox have hired over 250 ISAs, or inside sales agents, and we target young professionals right across the street at Texas A&M University. So we have quite a great amount of experience in hiring and training and leading and motivating millennials. And so this is the talk that I give on about how to make the work fun and meaningful. And I love the look and feel of this, because I literally made a joke to Jeff Cohn at a couple months ago as we were at the team building summit. But I said, how ironic is it that the generation that grew up with a video game controller in their hand, how ironic is it that if you actually make work fun and meaningful for them and scorecard things and make it fun and graphical and put little icons on it, that they're actually inspired to want to do a good job? Like, who would have ever thought the generation that grew up on video games actually loves this type of stuff? But it really works with anybody. It's not just millennials. It's not just kids.
Yeah, so to share an example of that, Spring actually has several contests going on right now. Mm-hmm. And she's divided her team up into two teams. And a lot of her people are new, just graduated from college, whatnot. And you're right, those guys are all over it, right? Mm-hmm. It's all about who's in first place, which team, right? Yep. And they care more about being in first place as a team than they do about making 10 grand for selling a house.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, but the excitement and what's going on, and I happen to see her Slack channel up constantly as well, because they always post their wins into the Slack channel. So just a lot of super fun stuff, but the energy that you feel and the culture, it's amazing, right? Mm-hmm. And so really, if you want to build a business where people stay in your business and love being a part of it, this is a big part of that.
Yep, definitely. And we actually just celebrated our annual awards ceremony. We have a winter gathering, and we do all sorts of recognition, from number of opportunities that you get to years of service and Top Gun awards and different core value awards. But essentially, people love recognition, especially in sales environments. Most people that are attracted to an environment where you're talking to people all day long. They also like being talked to, and they also like being patted on the back and being recognized. So that's what it means to be a people person.
Yeah, so these leaderboards you're seeing right here, they all have these on their phones. And so every single category that you're tracking in your business, you can see a leaderboard for that, right? So if I want to see listings, who signed the most listings this year, I can see this year. I can come in and I can see this month, right? So just that's always available. And then the challenges are separate from that. So it just really makes it fun.
That's great. So, I mean, I remember the first time you took me to the courtside seats to go see the Jazz play, and you told me you had this idea about this app, and I was like, wow, that sounds like a wonderful hallucination. But you actually, it's real. It's real. It exists now. It's real, and it's working, and the teams are using it effectively. I know Spring's a shining example of the success of the platform. Jeff Cohn also, he used to be a big Gecko board user, and as soon as he saw this, he's like, wow, this is Gecko board for real estate, and even more customizable. So he's now on the platform. So if I'm a listener, if I'm a rokrbox client, if I'm anybody out there in the world that is ready to make some changes in 2019 and start actually tracking our metrics and tracking our performance and knowing where our gaps and opportunities are so we can improve on them, how does someone get signed up? How does someone get rock and roll with Sisu? What is the process there, and how long does that take?
Super simple. You can go to our website, sisu.co. When you go there, you can most people like to see a full demo. You've seen a lot of it today, but we do a lot more than what you've seen today. So if you want a demo, just go in there, click arrange a demo. We'll get a demo scheduled for you. From there, you can sign up online. It takes a couple seconds. We can have you live within minutes. And then within a few days, we can have all your data imported so that your last year's data is in here, because that's really important, right? And then we'll work on whatever technology platforms you have. We'll work at getting integrations done quickly as well. So that's really the process. But we can have you live and actually tracking, within 24 hours.
That's awesome. And I love the part about bringing in last year's data too. It's not like you're just, well, this sounds like a great idea, but I haven't done it yet. That's fine. We'll just give us what data you have. And like you said, you're going to get it loaded up in their system so they can already start doing those year-over-year comparisons.
Yeah, coming into 2019, the really important thing is that you come in here, you come into your team settings, and you get all of your goals set up as a team. And then your individual agents are going to come in here, and they're going to set up their agent. They're going to set up their goals as an agent. And then all of that, again, you're going to have access to all of that here on this team dashboard. And we're looking at a team dashboard here, but if you want to see this information on any agent, all you're going to do is just click on that agent, and you can see exactly what's happening with them compared to their goals as well.
That's great. That's awesome, Brian. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to come here and educate our audience today. Like I said, this is the time of year where you need to start having those conversations with the agents on your team and start planning for the next year and determining what production level they want to be at, what goals they're going to have, what's going to be their why to drive them there. But I can tell you, this is the tool. This is the tool in real estate. Because it's been created specifically for real estate to start measuring and tracking and holding your people accountable so that the champions can rise to the top and improve their services and their skills each and every day. Anything else I'm missing today, Brian?
No, Josh, thank you. It's been great meeting with you, and we'll look forward.
Certainly. And if you guys wind up going and talking to Brian, or if you have any other questions, obviously let him know. Josh sent them your way, and I'm sure Brian will have a nice little holiday special for you if you.
Yeah, well, actually, that's something. I'm glad you brought that up, Josh. If they'll just put rokrbox in as the code when they go in,
okay,
we'll waive their setup fees.
Oh, awesome! Waiving the setup fee. Look at that. I knew you'd have something special for us.
Yeah. So again, just have them whenever somebody goes to our site, type in rokrbox. That's how you heard about us, and we'll go ahead and waive your setup fees.
Fantastic. That's great. Awesome. Well, we are super excited about 2019. Wishing all of our viewers out there happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Looking for a productive New Year. Brian, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you. Have a great Christmas, Josh.
Thanks. Take care, guys.